They say video games make you more violent. If that's true, how do I harness that violence to finally stop Nana from beating me up? All she plays is Scrabble.
Oh God, she's taking out her teeth!
If you try and cheat in Call of Duty, your game may shut down. Activision updated its anti-cheat system to Alt F4 when it detects mouse and keyboard players who are trying to use tools to enable aim assist. This would be much better news for Warzone players if Activision didn't also release an update that basically broke the whole game. A day after the anti-cheat announcement, the Season 1 Reloaded update caused multiple issues like immobilizing players, breaking the terrain of certain maps, and even fetching data loops that prevented some players from getting the game to launch at all. Fortunately, Activision was able to deploy fixes for the problems they themselves caused. But the devs deserve a massive shout out for seemingly working overnight to solve these issues based on the timing of the company's Twitter announcement. Speaking of Call of Duty Twitter news, multiple data miners allege they found evidence of a potential crossover with Warhammer 40K.
For the Imperium!
If what they say is true, 2 characters from the Grimdark universe will be added as operators. They also claim there will be 40K themed event bosses, but I'm pretty sure the creatures they name, like a Fen Beast, are from the fantasy Warhammer setting, not Warhammer 40K. What the feth? But I can forgive that mix-up if the leaks of chainsword-based executions are true. It's everything a young boy could want.
And the nightmare of every parent.
Xbox said last week that they'd host a developer direct today to showcase 5 of their hottest games launching this year. But little did we know, they were being completely truthful. We finally saw a trailer and gameplay for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle from Wolfenstein developer Machine Games, which is set sometime before The Last Crusade, the movie.
Title makes sense. I mean, he's always chasing after arcs. That's a math joke right there. Math lovers unite.
Indiana Jones's classic whip is integrated into both traversal and combat. So you can do things like pull enemies off ledges and they'll do the classic Wilhelm scream. And you can tell your friend, they did that. That's called the Wilhelm scream. Another game with a vague 2024 release window was Obsidian's Avowed, an RPG set in the Living Lands, where players will have to make difficult decisions that have major consequences and discover many secrets about a beautiful fantasy world, and yep, that's an RPG. The game will also feature a dynamic combat system that allows the player to quickly swap between swords, spells, and the most powerful magic of all, guns.
Alakablam!
Then Ninja Theory finally announced a May 21st release date for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. The studio's goal is apparently to create a relatively short, hyper-immersive narrative experience. So they've expanded their use of spatial audio technology to make you really feel like you're about to get cleaved in twain by a giant hairy Viking. Square Enix unveiled their 18th entry into the Mana series, called Visions of Mana, due out this summer. They've got a returning cast of fan-favorite monsters, as well as this adorable yet creepy giant Yorkshire Terrier pangolin thing for players to ride into battle. I didn't know I wanted it, but now I... And Oxide Games gave us all a look at Aura History Untold, a 4X grand strategy game launching this fall that the developers took lengths to insist is super unique and different from other games in this genre, possibly to preempt accusations that this game sure does look a lot like Civilization. Charity speedrun livestream Awesome Games Done Quick isn't over yet, but it already peaked when certified good boy Peanut Butter, that's the dog's name, beat the obscure 1985 NES game Gyromite?
Yes.
With some edible encouragement from his owner, JSR. What does it stand for?
Just snacks, right?
Because Peanut Butter doesn't have opposable thumbs, he used a special controller with big blue, red, and yellow buttons to control the game while JSR gave him commands and delicious treats. This run was over a year in the making, since that's apparently how long it took to teach Peanut Butter the commands and patience necessary to speedrun the game. Playing Gyromite in Game B mode, Peanut Butter was responsible for raising and lowering red and blue pillars to navigate a sleepwalking professor toward a goal while avoiding deadly enemies called Smicks. I'm sure all of that made sense in the 80s. It was a very different time. Peanut Butter was on track for a world record time until tragedy struck. Due to the way the NES handles position data, a Smick was able to walk across the left side of the screen and end up on the right side, directly blocking the end of the level. Are you smicking kidding me? Peanut Butter still finished the game, and we have no doubt he's moved on to his next speed run, setting the record at the local dog park in the 100% butt sniffed category.
Fun fact, dogs sniff butts.
Yeah. For more dog facts, here's Jacob.
No dog facts here, Riley, just quick bits, brought to you by Epomaker. Every so often, gamers also need to type out a sentence. That's why Epomaker makes keyboards that are great for navigating the battlefield or your documents. Their EK68 model has 3 different connection modes: Bluetooth, wired Type-C, or a 2.4 GHz dongle. It includes a bunch of quality of life features like a multimedia knob, 2-stage adjustable feet, and hot swap compatibility with most 3 and 5-pin switches. You know who won't have good quality of life? Your enemies. Or that one jerk on Reddit who won't admit he's wrong. Check out the Epomaker EK68 at the link below.
There's not much time. The quick bits are coming in. Oh God, they're here! Defensive formations! Ah! Harmonix has announced that January 25th will mark the final DLC release for Rock Band 4. Yes, the game from 2015. The studio has been releasing weekly content drops for the game for over 8 years, totaling 2,800 songs that Harmonix says owners can play for as long as they like.
We own something we bought?
What? The Epic Games owned studio will now focus on the free-to-play Fortnite Festival, a controller-based rhythm game within Fortnite. Wait, what am I supposed to do with my fake plastic instruments then? Sell them online for an exorbitant price? Okay. Plants vs. Zombies 3 has finally soft launched just 5 years after the threequel was announced. Players in just 5 countries, the UK, Netherlands, Australia, the Philippines, and the Republic of Ireland, can now access the game while the rest of us have to twiddle our thumbs. What am I supposed to do? The closest we can get to battling legions of undead with an army of flora is throwing dandelions at our grandparents. But if I do that, Nana beats me up. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown comes out today, and reviewers love it, for the most part, with both Game Informer and VentureBeat calling it a modern Metroidvania classic. Some outlets, like Inverse, found the exploration dull and the bosses underwhelming. However, everyone seems to love one mechanic The Lost Crown added to its Metroidvania formula: the ability to take a screenshot of your surroundings and pin it to the map so you can remember where you need to backtrack to. Ironically, it's very easy to lose track of that one insurmountable gap that for some reason shows up in every Metroidvania game. Why is it there? Palworld, lovingly referred to as Pokemon with Guns, has taken over Twitch ahead of its launch tomorrow because of scandalous content like using a bird as a grenade launcher by spanking it. But apparently such enticing gameplay has Steam users concerned, since the developers felt the need to insist in an FAQ that Palworld is not a scam, which unfortunately has the effect of making it sound like a scam. Suddenly, I'm having second thoughts about a game that features a knockoff Pikachu wielding a minigun, for some reason. And if you can't find a good therapist, or you have an unquenchable thirst for blood, Vampire Therapist is an upcoming visual novel where you take the role of a vampire that's also a therapist. The game claims you'll learn and apply real cognitive behavioral therapy concepts vetted by licensed therapists. Though if you're hoping to learn how to cope with the fear of blood, I have terrible news about this vampire game.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, good work. But I have great news about next Tuesday, because that's when you can suck up a brand new episode of Game Linked. No biting required. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to hide somewhere. Nana can't find me.
Butterscotch candies.
Nana, please.
Where's Riley?
It's not a word.